Okay, here's a wild thought for you. What if your entire life was a performance? And I don't mean that in some kind of metaphorical, all the world's a stage way. I mean, literally. According to author Arthur Christian, you are an actor, and your only job is to puppeteer a dead body. Yeah, it's a bizarre, pretty unsettling idea, and in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly what on earth that means. See, the author isn't just being poetic or trying to be edgy here. This isn't a metaphor for feeling disconnected from your life. They are arguing that this is the literal fundamental reality of how we exist. We are animating a corpse, and that's it. That's the whole game. It's a really strange concept to get your head around, right? I mean, how can our lives, with all their complexity and feeling, be compared to puppeteering a dead body? So let's dig into the author's logic and see how they actually build this incredibly unsettling argument. So here's the first piece of the puzzle. The author says you have to separate the actor, that's you, your consciousness, from the physical body. Your life isn't something you live from the inside out. Nope. It's a performance that you, the actor, put on. You're just puppeteering this physical form to create the illusion that it's alive. And just think about how exhausting that would be. The author has a term for it, laborious labor, and for good reason. Every single action, picking the body up in the morning, physically moving its legs to walk, making its arms wave, even speaking for it, it's all a conscious manual task. It's an all-consuming performance from the second you wake up until you go to sleep. And this isn't like a one-and-done kind of thing. It is a constant, relentless performance. The author even points out that you can pause it, maybe when you're asleep or zoned out, but you always have to come back and resume the act. The show must go on, always. Okay, so that leads to a pretty obvious question. If we're all just actors in a performance, well, who writes the play? According to the author, we're definitely not improvising. We are following a script, word over word. So how many scripts are we talking about here? To perform a complete fictional life, all the way from quote-unquote birth to death, the author claims we are programmed with, and this is a direct quote, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. The sheer scale of this pre-programming is just staggering to think about. So who's the writer? Where do all these scripts come from? Well, the author points to an external source, something they call a make-believe language that basically defines our entire reality. But here's the kicker. These scripts aren't neutral. They carry the specific intentions of some unseen programmer. Now, the text never really says who that programmer is, leaving us to wonder if it's society or culture or something else entirely. And these scripts, they govern everything. From the moment you wake up, you're just executing programs. Your morning routine, the tasks you do at work, even the way you talk about buying things or what you value, it's all pre-written. Your entire day is just an endless cycle of moving from one script to the next. So, what's the ultimate consequence of all this? What's the end game? Well, if every single action we take is just us reading from a pre-written script, it leads to a really, really unsettling conclusion about our own freedom. The author presents us with a pretty stark choice. On one side, you've got real life, which they describe as pulsating, full of freedom and actual free will. And on the other side, you've got the fictional life that we're all apparently performing, a life that's robotic, totally predetermined, and made up of nothing but scripts. Ultimately, the author's conclusion is that in this scripted world, we're nothing more than a machine. There's no deep consciousness. There's no real will making choices. Other than the mechanical execution of the script, nothing else is really going on. That's it. But this idea doesn't just stop with you as an individual. It gets bigger. What happens when an entire world is filled with these actors, all performing their own scripts at the exact same time? Well, the author scales this whole concept up to the societal level. And that collective performance gets a name, the system. The definition is incredibly simple and direct. It's just what you get when there's more than one of these performed imaginary lives of fiction all operating together. And this is what leads to the author's most shocking claim of all. What is this system that we all live in? It's not a society. It's not a culture. In their words, it is a pre-programmed AI world of drones. And just to put a final, definitive stamp on it, to make sure there's absolutely no wiggle room, the author ends with these words: nothing less, nothing more. There is zero ambiguity in this worldview. It is total. It is absolute. So, wow. We've just traced this idea all the way from a single person puppeteering a dead body up to a global system of programmed drones. Before we wrap this up, let's just quickly bring it all back together. So, to recap the author's whole argument, life as we know it is not lived, it's performed. Our actions aren't really our own, they're just dictated by hundreds of scripts. That means our precious sense of free will? It's an illusion, and our entire society is just a massive interconnected system of these programmed drones. And that leaves us with one final and pretty provocative question. The author doesn't want this to just be some abstract theory. They want it to feel personal. So the question to really take away from all this isn't just about society, it's about you. Which parts of your day, your conversations, your very identity are scripted?